All right, truth seekers, it is Monday, and I hope you had a very good weekend this past weekend. And whatever you did, I want to know if you got abducted this weekend, and let me know, because every day somebody get abducted by some type of species or alien. In today's conversation, we're going to go into that. We're going to go into maybe possibly who's doing what, maybe, and maybe hopefully some of you put in the comments today that you may possibly have been abducted, and you might know who did it and why they did it. And I think that's a great conversation. And after that, we will basically talk about some of the things to know if you have been abducted. So I'm gonna go down that rabbit hole with you today. So anyway, I want to welcome you to Truth versus Thought. I'm Roderick Martin, and you could have been any other place today, but you chose to be right here, right now. We are on the beginning of our 5 for 5, meaning 5 days a week at 5 o'clock. And we're going to have a great conversation. So I hope you're ready to have that conversation, and we're going to get started right after this.
Objects in the sky, we don't know exactly what they are.
Of landing a man on the moon, and
Have anyone been murdered?
I have to be careful asking that question.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Your eyes is useless when your mind is blind. So I have been in this field of ufology for quite some time. I've probably have done over 400 interviews over the times that I've been in this particular arena. And there always been some type of similarities when it came down to some of the abduction stories. One of the things in particular, is memory lost, time lost, or maybe there was some type of probing that had been done. But overall, it was some type of alien species. Now, there's people who probably have felt maybe some type of sleep paralysis, maybe some type of dream interpretations. And then there's people who say, hey, I was just out walking and I saw this orb, or I saw this particular species. So it comes in all different flavors and colors, right? And so tonight we're going to go down to it, and we're going to look into what we're doing. So we got the greatness of London Clark in the house. All right. And so we listen, the headline calling in the aliens. I say, have you been conducted by the aliens? And now the aliens are in our comment sections today. So welcome to Earth. For those of you who feel like you are right at home, and we could say a little bit about that. But either which way, it is all good. And we're going to talk about these things tonight because it is time. It is time. And if you are in Dallas this particular weekend, or not this weekend, but coming up May 9th, we're going to have our roundtable discussion when it comes down to alien contact. So I want you to definitely know that. And that is Saturday, May 9th. And you can come and what I call report your contact experience and be part of the UFO Alien Contact Intelligence Roundtable. And hopefully we get to hear from you and your particular species that you have been abducted with. Now, how many of you in the chat now either have some type of feeling, maybe even a story, maybe you've had a dream, maybe you've been probed, maybe you have been taken, maybe you feel like you don't even belong here. And so if that's any of that applies to you, or any of your particular senses, I would love for you to put in a comment and put in a comment of who you are and where you may think you're from, or who you've been contacted to and why you think they're contacting you. And even if you have not had the experience and you just want one, I would like to know why. If you want to be abducted, you want us to put the word out and tell the extraterrestrials, come and get you, particularly you, and you have something to offer them, let me know, because I'm sure we can put the comment out. Maybe you'll be good for recolonization. Maybe you have a perfect bloodline for breeding. Maybe you know how and do some tricks that the aliens don't get on Earth, or some galactic type of things that you do. But either way, it has to make you a commodity for them to say, okay, we want to do that, Earthling. We want to take you with us. And then we would just have to look at it that way. But now let's take it on another level. There's a lot of things happening, even in the government today, that this conversation over 20 and 30 years ago was a little baffled, right? You had to be a little cuckoo. A lot of people didn't want to have anything to do with the alien conversation. Now it is mainstream. So also, I want to know how you feel about that. How will some of you feel? Is it redemption now? We're not actually a disclosure. We don't know exactly what's going on in behind the closed doors. I don't think it takes us to have to see an alien to know that they exist, especially our communities, by the way. But where I'm going with this is, do you feel it's redemption time when you go back to your family and friends today and say, ah, ha, ha, they are here. The government is looking at it. You're paying money out of your check every week. There is a unified, certified tax proposed UFO provision that comes out of everybody's paychecks when they pay taxes. And so everybody's in on it. So if anyone feel like they're not in on it, they're in on it one way or the other. I just want to know how you feel. Do you feel like you have some type of redemption when it comes down to this alien phenomena? And I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear your perspective on this particular topic. So for me, being in it for quite some time, doing some of the things that I've done, and also being around some of the government officials, being around some of the top ufologists, it's nothing new. It's nothing new, and we've been at this for quite some time. We never fell for the act of that they don't exist. And when they did switch the deal and try to say, okay, now we get on the bandwagon, I don't think it's a bandwagon that the government and everyone is on. It's a plan. It's always been a structured plan. So one way, they got 70 years of us saying you're crazy and blah, blah, blah. And now they flip the script to come back and say they're real. And it just really messes up people's cognitive dissonance all the time. It flips the scripts and people don't know what's left and what's right. Everything is inverted. And then all of a sudden they want to come out and say something. But you got to remember, there's a lot of things at stake here. We're talking about religion. We're talking about global economy. We're talking about the health economy. The list goes on and on when the technology of true other civilizations revealed themselves. And then at this point, what do you say? Now, for me, I've said it before and I've said it a million times. I think the ultimate question, if I had one question to ask those aliens, who is God, right? Or who is your God, and in particular. And at this point, we should hear a unified conscious of subconscious answer of source. But hey, what if they know the deal? What if they know the human history, that we are not that smart based on back in the day, thousands of years ago, when they came and manipulated us and said, all you have to do is tell them you God and they're going to treat you like one. So I think first thing I would establish is, hey, I'm not going for that. That's not happening anymore. I'm not that dumb, pesky, Neanderthal that was running around here thousands of years ago. And so don't come at me like that. Tell me what's really happening. Or, we just going to tie you up with something. I don't know, right? I'm not talking about a global threat there, but we already know they got more technology. Probably just hit us with a ray gun and be like, psh. But either way, you want to know those particular answers is all I'm trying to say. All right. So someone says here, said from the studies, aliens don't know what source is, but know that there is a creator God and act accordingly. So are you saying that there's rules? Are you saying that there's some type of universal law or program that the aliens run off of? But they are a higher intelligent species. Why would they not know or have the understanding of source, or God, right? Now, I get what you're saying. If we just look at the word, what I'm talking about, God, then we can kind of look at it that way. So I get what you're saying. So at this point, it's like that. All right, so let me go here first. How many of you are in the chat right now that you feel that you've been contacted? You personally have been contacted. That's what I want to know. All right, so we got a story here. Shay says, October 8th, 2024, a man and a woman came into my room while I was asleep, and she said, we are going to update my motherboard. Wow. And then a man was at a computer and a lady was keeping me calm, and he pressed my abdomen. All right. So, hey, that's your experience. And it was very painful. So you remember it. Now, like you said, they want to update your motherboard and the man was at a computer. So, all right. So maybe you're programmed, right? Or we kind of know, but how did you feel afterwards though? Okay. You went through the pain. You know, were you able to see things different? Did you think different? Were you acting different? Do you feel that your mind was a little more clear? Did you have a little better perception on life and everything else? I mean, what was the upgrade if they gave you one? You know what I mean? And so I think that was whatever. Someone said, how did I become a top fan? Let me see what happened. How did I? And does the Agron know we? Oh, look, I'm thinking it coming across this chat. It came across my text. It probably does. It tracks everything. You know what I mean? I meant that. You know what I'm saying? It tracks everything. So make no mistake about it. I wouldn't doubt it 100%. Make no mistake about it. You know. So I think that you have to really think about whatever experiences that you've had. And oftentimes a lot of people have seen stuff in dreams. I think a lot of people have had experiences in a dream and they really can't understand it or feel it or even know because they more likely, again, it's just a dream. It's just a dream. And yeah, I am live. You didn't know that? Yes, I'm live in full color. Yes, we're live. Only an alien would know that you are live and beam to your phone. Yeah, so that's what it would be, an alien. So, all right. So again, I want to know anyone else have had their experience that they've had. I just want to know and talk about your dreams, and talk about your dreams. And we would know. We would know. We would know if you are from some other place. Mhm. We would know right offhand that you are from another place and you don't belong here, or you feel like you don't belong here, maybe, or and some of you may have dated one. Do you think somebody you dated in the past? We're looking for contact today. We want stories of contact. That's one of the things we would say. Victoria says, "What are dreams? Are we talking? Are they taking us to other realities or dimensions?" Well, it depends because you could be in that unconscious state, right? Or, that you kind of know what's going on, but you can't really move. You know something is happening, but you can't really function with it. You know what I mean? And so it is worth noting that that type of situation has happened to a lot of people. Now, some of you, like I said, you probably have dated and was probably dating some type of alien species and didn't know it. You get what I'm saying? And or you sensed it. No, I'm good. Thank you though. Thanks. And some type of alien species that you did not know. You get what I'm saying? And I think it's but you had the signs though. You kind of figured a little bit. Maybe it didn't feel right. Maybe, they were just a little different, and you just like, man, this person don't seem human. Or maybe their emotional state just wasn't there. They just weren't really vibing and clicking with the emotional empathy or apathy, but they had apathy, not empathy. Some of you have dated some aliens. Why not? They are looking for the human experience. Now, I will tell you, if you had dated an alien and they left you or they broke up with you because you were not giving them the human experience, isn't that worth looking into our own selves, right? I think so at some point. But, just think about all of that for a minute. All right. So Dr. Strange says that I believe the Galactic Federation is upgrading individuals' DNA into a crystallized form or to better handle the coming 5D transition. I can't say that they are probably upgrading individuals individually. You know what I mean? It is probably a genetic DNA bloodline type scenario when it comes down to the transition of things. I don't think that globally they're just saying, okay, we're just gonna change humanity, because one of the things that they play is they play the long game to alter humanity for in a mass production of change. it could take tens to thousands of years. So they play a long game. It's only us, our lifespan maybe, 50, 80, 100 years, right? So they play this long game. So their whole agenda is a little different. So I think, if we look at it that way, then we can kind of go into that. I bet my daughter's mom is an alien. All right. So what was the signs? Let it out. Let's go there. What was the signs that you thought your daughter's mom's was an alien? My daughter's kid's mom, or my kid's mom, was Rh negative. So we're gonna start there, and pretty much we already know that's extraterrestrial bloodline, and so we can go there right off the bat and look at it. Sean says, I've always been able to see the future since I was a kid, but now I can very effectively create reality that I desire, and that, oh, they have not left, and I've been taken to see sacred sites by them and learn. All right, so someone says, can we talk privately somehow? We can. And speaking of that, we're in our fundraiser season right now for the next 2 weeks, and so I'm gonna give you guys the inside story of some life-changing events for me, and things that we are now in play with our whole community, and what we hope. So how I would answer that question, if it was okay with you, yes, we can talk. I do phone consultations, but ordinarily I would love to just hear it anyway. But at this point, we are there you go. So I do a 1-hour phone consultations right there at truthversusauthority.org. And I would love to just hear your story. But if you want to email it to me and just kind of go over it there, you can. And you can do that at contact@whydabigSecret.com. If you want to talk and schedule a call, you can. And like I said, we're in fundraising season, so don't take so I would love to get a contribution to do that. But if not, email me anyway, and then we can just kind of correspond there, and then we can just kind of take it from there. Okay. But if we, want to schedule a call, we get right on, we would do that. It's just choice. So hopefully you get what I'm saying as far as, not intended, not I just don't want to talk to you. We do, but I would love to hear your story. So either way, you can email your story at contact@whydabigSecret.com. So go ahead and send it out. All right. So let me continue here. Someone says, thanks for the info following. Yeah. All right. So, hey, if you want to come to Dallas, come on to Dallas, and we can have a conversation anyway. Right. We are, coming up anyway. I think I put it on the screen. So coming up May 9th, we're going to be doing our live, alien UFO contact intelligence roundtable. So we'll be doing that. You're welcome to come out and check us out for there and be a part of it, matter of fact. So I will definitely tell you to do that. And let's put it together. All right. So C says, I had a dream that I was standing in a busy indoor market with a lot of people, and all of a sudden in the middle of the walkway, a blue entity appeared and was moving as if gliding through people. One of the things, remember the people in Peru? Was it Peru, y'all, that in that jungle, they were reporting that the aliens that they saw were gliding, right? They were just kind of gliding through. They didn't give them a particular color, though. But they were just talking about how they were gliding. They actually didn't walk on the ground. They would just kind of had this type of energetic elevation that they would just kind of move around, anti-gravity, so to speak. So that's not uncommon to hear that particular trait or, that type of story. So it'd be something worth looking into. I think it'd be something, to do that. Real quickly, let me give an announcement here. If you have a business or online business, number one, if you online and you want to be part of advertising and partner with us here, we have a great program that we're putting together. Like I said, we're looking to get sponsors. We're here every day now, 5 days a week. And then if you want to do extra, we can put you on Forbidden Knowledge when I do the show. There's the email, support@truthversusauthority.com. And you'll be surprised, but I will say preferably your business should be an internet business, unless you were here locally. We're going to have things for that too. But if you have an internet business where we can kind of put your web address here on the screen, give you some shout outs and talk about it. And if you do have product samples as well that you will send us, then we can go that route as well. But I would love to get, we're going to get 6 different sponsors or advertisers. And it's very economical for you to do this. And then 5 days a week, getting thousands of views over time, have a repeated, marketing, you'll be able to get some business there. So if you want to join the group of supporting what we do, then, and if you have a business and you want to partner together, send an email to truthversusauthority.org. By the time the end of the week, we should have a few people, but if you get in on this early, you won't be kind of disappointed there for nothing. I will tell you that. All right. Someone said, this is my favorite 5 for 5. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So the Peru thing had to been the one that just popped up to mind. Because like I said, they was talking about that a lot. They were talking about how they was elevating pretty much. Now, one of the stories I get all the time is some type of, well, no, I get all kinds of stories, to be honest with you. They come in all forms of fashion. It just depends on what they're doing. Someone says, my chat is not showing up. Well, I'm seeing something now, but I'm not for sure. Now, if you use a certain type of words that are being captured, then I would have to go and look into it and approve the chat, because there are certain keywords that we do or YouTube will catch right offhand that we don't see until clean after the show. So just let you know. So hopefully you're seeing nice things and things that can be favorable for the content itself, and then it'll get through. So say Roderick is a cool guy and see if it comes through, and then you'll know. Just talk about me in a good way, and then it'll show. All right, so where I'm getting ready to talk about is there has been, certain keywords that they block weird stuff. Yeah, they do. It was about reptilians. Yeah, well, they know we are reptilians here, so that you can talk about. In fact, I'm glad you even brought that up. In about 3 days, if y'all haven't registered, we only have about a few spots left. Most people have already registered for the event. And the Reptilian Rule is going to be a live webinar Thursday at 8 p.m. It's very economical. It's less than a coffee, a bubble gum a day if you want a part of it. We're going to go into what is happening with the reptilians. I'm going to give you the history, the background, and how to see them, and how to hit them with energy, that you're going to know anyone you see out there on the street. Once you learn and be able to create this energy burst, they're going to fumble. They're going to do something. And you're going to know they're reptilian stuff. Hit your friends, hit somebody you're dating, whoever, and check them out. I don't do my friends that way, even though I'm very capable, because I like them who they are. And there's no need for me to let them know, because they're going to know, at this point, especially if you don't do the other part that I'm going to teach in the webinar, that you do to cover it up, that they can't see you, that you know that you see them. But if you want to recognize and see them, we got about 5 or 6 spaces left. And like I said, I'm only doing the first 20 people so that we can then get testimonials from the training that I'm going to be doing. And you're going to be a reptilian hunter by time, not crocodile hunter. You're going to be a reptilian hunter. So it is a live webinar, and it's going to be at 8 p.m. So hopefully you got your spot. If you don't worry, we'll probably do it again later down the road. It's no biggie. But at the end of the day, it's going to be pretty interesting to go that route. Interesting that all humans have reptilian brains at the core of our brain. Yeah, and 99% of the humans do. And that is because of our DNA. And our DNA is being altered at some point. And I think people should really grasp the scientific approach, on with the ancient knowledge approach, on with the just that it makes sense approach, and then understand. And I've already said, if you just want to understand humans, understand the reptile. That's been the story there. Someone says, just out of curiosity, let me put it on the screen. What are signs that kids are these reptiles? There are probably, the kids are easier to spot for show. And there's a lot of signs for that, but that is something that I would probably choose not to put out there for the sake of the children. We're not targeting them, but they are really easy to spot because they had not heightened. Some of them don't really know that they're hybrids all the way, and therefore they kind of act. But there is a tall tale sign that children or have that, or everybody have it in them, but their DNA is elevated, so to speak, with the reptilian, and they could be all reptilian hybrid, right? And so therefore it's deliberately, but there is a way to look at it. And like I say, I do respect the fact, but I'll teach you how to find those adults, looked at their adults now when they're out there and their kids are with them. And if you hit them with this, the energy thing that we're going to be teaching this Thursday, the kids are going to get hit too. And so they're going to act a little weirder. And so you will know what is happening. And so I think it's worth looking at. So Paul says, I love your podcast. Love your podcast. My all-time favorite. I had dreams, but there are times that I don't remember, but I wake up with scratches and I feel like something. Yeah. Yeah. I wake up with the scratches periodically. I know probably about a month or so ago, I was heavily scratched up on both sides of my arms. And I think I showed y'all live on air that day. And that's when you know they're at work or working. Usually for me at this point, it's just more of a battlefront because I can end up blocking the energy, but I'm getting better to know I'm in a dream state when I am dreaming. And so therefore the fight is a little different. The awareness is a little different. So while the body is resting, the conscious mind is still kind of working. And so I'm getting better and better to set my intentions and things before I go to sleep. And I've had times that I'll wake up and I'm pissed and I'm like, I'm going back in. I got to go back to work, And so there are things that you can kind of deal with that at some point. Are reptilians necessarily bad? I see a balance in all things. Scrutinize information in the media due to tons of propaganda, and that distorts the truth. All right, so let me give you my honest overview of your question, and it's a very valid question. And then I'm gonna do it in more of a storytelling format for you. So instead of just saying yes or no, all right? And I want to answer it that way, and then we'll get to the other question about the scratches. One of the things that historically, what was said was that there were shining ones that literally were the first one who came to Earth. Those particular ones were the ones who taught humanity. They taught us wisdom. They taught us different things. Now, just because they taught us wisdom, just because they taught us how to build and how to think, numbers, all the different things, doesn't mean that they still didn't have an intention to enslave us, because you don't want a dumbass slave. A stupid, dumb slave, just not productive. So you need them to have some kind of knowledge. But it's like you teach them all that they know, but not all that you know. Now, the story has it that we did have the extra aliens here. Then at some point, they were deciding to leave, and then they left another race that they designed, of reptilians, by the way, to become what we call the Watchers. This is the story that has evolved into the great battle of angels and or the battles of heaven and all of these things. Well, ultimately, those Watchers came down. When they came down, they ended up finding the daughters of man beautiful, and they ended up saying, hey, we're going to take 200 of these people. We're going to make them our wives, supposedly. Now, that abomination formed what we call the Nephilims, and which were the hybrids, which were the kids of aliens and man. Those had a fight. Then this is when the war bestowed over. There was a great battle ensued, and then they both battles. Then ultimately the aliens left, but they didn't leave with everything. They left their tools of communication. They left a lot of stuff here, and definitely the ones who stayed behind became a little rogue. Then we ended up having bloodlines. Now, some of those bloodlines that originally stayed were the bloodlines of the original shiny ones. This is where we get into Christianity. This is where we get into some of the religions. This is where some of these bloodlines so happen to be, protected in war and all of this. However, the story goes a little bit like this, though. One of their descendants were uh, end up being captured. The descendant was beaten. Then it was crucified, this particular descendant. And then yet in 3 days, the story was that he rose with the companies of beings of light that came and took him up, where he shredded his shrouded skin. We all kind of know what the story is, right? But this is a reptilian story. And he was a descendant of David, who was the great giant killer. So now we can go back into the bloodlines, and I don't have to call a name. And supposedly this particular, but this bloodline now is the bloodline into all of these royal families and all of this stuff. So the bloodline of these reptilians and all these things are pretty deep. So to answer that ultimate question that you asked earlier, I think there's some good ones and there's some bad ones. Now, in our show, I've always asked if you're a good reptilian, and we're going to meet one. We've had people to come in our community events and say that they are reptilians. Now, I wear a shirt when they say that, says just blink your, I'm not saying you're a reptilian, but blink your eyes sideways. So we're looking for the one that has a little more bloodline that, and then can be of some counsel of knowledge for us, right? And so I do believe that there are some good ones out there, and then we will have a safe place for that, and I won't violate the covenant of that. Hey, if we're cool. But so I think there's some on both sides. So I would have to agree to say that. I think that either or, though, they originally came to enslave mankind at some point. So we know that there's benevolent beings out there. We know that there's malevolent forces out there. Even the malevolent forces know that. Even the Illuminati. This is why they play within rules. They make sure they play in certain rules that they know they got to tell us. They know they got to reveal things to us. They know they have, because there are benevolent beings who will take them out for violating the rules. So some people be like, well, why they don't do anything? How come these aliens and demonic, these archons, how do they have free reign? Well, they don't violate your, sovereignty when you give them permission to do what they want to do. Most oftentimes, we as a culture or humanity have given them permission, and because permission is given in so many different ways. And so long as they share some with you, long as they put their eyes and stuff on album covers and all that, and you still buy the shit, you still go listen to the stuff. I'm talking about not nobody in particular, but if you still do it, we're basically giving up the permission, and so they're able to operate either which way they want. So chaos is part of the plan. Source made chaos just as much as it made good stuff. It is up to you to decide how much of that you want to take. So that's my part of saying that. All right, pretty much. All right. So another thing I want to bring out is, like I said before, we are, or I'm gonna start with myself first, then I'll go into the we are making a lot of changes in our community. We have our new setup as our organization. We got a whole lot of directions where we're going. As you know, for quite some time, I'm usually going pretty late, but due to a lot of reasons, it was time for me to say, okay, let's appreciate it, D3. So DJ, so the thing about it is to restructure where we're at. Where we currently are right now, we are in a room. We have our huge TV there. We have our chairs, and there's a big giant glass right here in front of us, like at the radio station type. And there's, at some point, people are walking by at this particular place where we are. We are wanting to get 4 cameras, another cameras where the producer will be kind of be into the conversation. If the guest is here, we can hit the button. We want to put a camera pointing this way so that we can mic up whoever's standing out there talking to people walking by. so we can get some real live conversations there. In order to do that, we want some support. Now it's back to that. We also are planning a lot of different events. We're planning to take our live streams into some of the things that we're doing. So if you don't live here in Dallas, you will be able to do that. And with that being said, I am hoping to get a few people to have what I call a 90-day pledge for 3 months, pledge to our community. And if you hit me on, that, and then you'll get a write-off for that because we are a new organization, and you can get a letter and credit for your pledges or what you're doing with us. And so we are now moving in that direction. So let me put that on the screen here. So there's 3 ways that we're looking for supporters. We need it. We definitely need your support. So, but I just want a 90-day commitment if you can for some of you, whether it's $25, whether it's $50, whether it's found in circle. And if we are able to, and I know we can, once we get up to 20 or 30 different people supporting, it's going to open up the doors to bring in different guests and other stuff where we need to do. And so I'm really hoping that some of you find within your heart to do that even today. If some of you can decide that you want to be part of supporting us on the back end. And again, we're going through a 90-day transition. And I think by that time we should have everything from, and when you come, and then there are going to be some VIP things behind the back. So anyway, right there on the screen, screenshot it. You can go to Patreon is where you can sign up for that contribution. So you can go to Patreon. You can be a supporter for 90 days for $25, a backer for $50, and then the founding circle. And all of it will have different privileges over time, shout outs. We're going to put a screen at the end of our live stream showing your names, if you want to be. And then, of course, in the Patreon, we'll do some other stuff. But right now, there are a few people who I know who can support what I'm doing. And like I said, it is a call to action from there. All right. So, all right. Dr. Strange says, I think that let me put it on the screen here first. I think reptilians are akin to demons. They're in another dimension. There's different types of history where they're called jinns, where they're called all types of stories. Now, I do believe that the reptilians and the other ones, they operate in the same dimension. So it's possible the misunderstanding could be either one. Okay. So you can do either one of the things. But there are demons. Demons do exist. So if you want to call a demon, it's a demon. There are some demons out there, okay? And some people are encountering demons daily with a D, all right? And you have to protect yourself. Of course, we're going to do a sigil protection on that. All right, so let me get ready to take this off the screen. But 2 things. If you want to be a sponsor, or let's say you're in Dallas and you want to sponsor our bi-weekly events, and then we will give you a vendor table for your products and stuff there too. We would love for you to do that. And if you can do that, you can email in that. So I'm going to be doing this all week, so don't y'all get a little tired of me doing that. But I'll give a shout out to those of you who can. And like I said, we're looking for a 90-day pledge. We will give you your whatever you need for your tax, whatever. And they'll let you know we are a legitimate foundation here now. And we always been. But the whole point is, a 90-day commitment is what we're hoping we can get at any one of those levels, and just do what you can. But go to patreon.com. You can start that support tonight, and then, just like I say, if you can look into your hearts for 90 days for the truth, that will be fabulous. And I'll bring it up again in a little bit. Let me pull that off the screen. All right, so let me go back to some of the chats here, and let's see what else we got going on. Yeah, all right. So out of curiosity, how many Bible stories can we tie back to reptilians? A bunch of them. A bunch of them. In fact, and I'm doing a story on it. If y'all go to Instagram right now, Instagram, I have all this week, in the last few weeks, been posting reptilian Bible connection stories. I've been doing that for quite some time. If you want to go take a look at it, and on Instagram, our videos and my little what I call smart board things are getting tons of views. I did one about reptilians, and it's got who started a religion, and I did that, and that's got 200,000 views. I've did one on reptilians in the serpent worshippers in the Christianity. That one's got 100,000 views. I just put one up today about the communion cup, the drink, and where that came from. That's already, and I only put it up at 3 o'clock, and it's already got 7,000 to 8,000 views today. And there's, so I put all our reptilian stuff on Instagram, because when I put it up on TikTok, they take me down instantly. Yeah, so they take me down, and now I'm in violation of losing our whole account on TikTok for spitting that type of truth. And then Facebook, they don't even play, but Instagram is wide open. So you're going to find a lot of my short form reptilian stuff all on Instagram. And I have taken some of those videos, and you go into the video section here of YouTube, you will probably find a couple of those as well. So we're there in pretty much. And but anyway, if any of you decide to support us, and then you're doing it during the show, I'll see it, and I'll give you a shout out live today, and pretty much from what we're doing. So let's keep going. If you have, again, been contacted by some type of entities, I'm now going to use the word entity, but alien races, because a lot of people say they've been contacted by Pleiadians, or maybe it was the the Nordics, and it's like nobody want to get contacted by the Greys and reptilians like on purpose. So I'm not saying that people are making their stories up, but they just don't. Nobody wants to say a reptilian hit me up last night, and it's like, why not? But I do understand, because they don't play fair. That's for damn sure. But if you are going to have an encounter, you do want it with a nice old Palladium, if you could. I would assume that that's probably the reason that they're probably doing it that way, and I don't want nobody else to know. But that will probably be the thing that makes sense, and pretty much from there. But yeah, nobody just want to say. They don't want to say. But like I said, though, coming up in 3 days, and I see a couple of you have registered, so we probably got about 5 or 6 more spots left for the reptilian rule. You will be definitely sorry if you didn't get in on this one. And if you go look at the website, it's not a lot of money to register for the live webinar for Thursday night at 8 o'clock. And we're going to have Q&A afterwards. We're going to go through a lot of teaching there. So make sure you go there. So I'm just put it up again, the reptilian rule. But also, while we're in our new transition, if you got your business, you want to be part and partner with us, let's do that from there. But hopefully tonight, 4 or 5 of you will become some of our supporters for 90 days pledge. And that, again, go to the Patreon and do that. And if you can find it and you hear my voice, and my voice is resonating with you, and the energy and the urgency of what we're trying to accomplish or going to accomplish, it should reach you consciously, and I will subconsciously send you a message, so that it's important of the process that we're doing, and hopefully you get to kind of see the facility and the things that we're working to accomplish, and knowing as we seek the truth, and knowing that there's a lot of stuff coming out now, and we got to be really careful, but we also have to be really straightforward getting our stuff taken care of. So hopefully that's something you all would say. All right, so someone else saying that I miss seeing all the Roderick pieces and decor in the command center. It was a second. Yeah, I actually have some of them here. All right. Now we are thinking about, if you knew how this place is set up, it's a huge 20,000 square foot co-working space, sort of, where there's behind me, there's like, desk, cubicles, businesses. We have an office over on the other side, event centers, training rooms. and a lot of other things. So anyway, eventually we will have we're going to have a bigger space where you will see new stuff behind me because it'll be kind of a fixed area, and we can kind of do that as well. But other than that, that's all I'm saying. But I just want to know which one of y'all going to who's going to be the first one today and support us though. Who's going to be that one that, whether it's our supporter at 25, our backer, and now we're going to be doing this all week. So I want you to know, if you already tired of me asking for our 90-day pledge, it's going to happen 5 days this week. And we can probably have some guests here too. So I just want you to know. So if you already getting frustrated and thinking, why help this guy and why help the community and, blah, 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 I just want to listen and I want to support, then yeah. So, all right. So yeah, someone said, are these amounts for 90 days? Sorry, I missed. Yes. So these are, it's 90 days of those supports. So it could be 3 months of 25, 3 months of 50, 3 months of the founding circle. And, but you go into the Patreon and then you set it up, it'll go. And then at the end of the 90 days, you can just, or you may be like, hey, I'm really loving where we're going now. I see it. I got the mission. Oh, this back end stuff that we're doing, this private circle we have, I want it in it. And we build something nice there. But yes, yeah. So like I said, whoever goes there, I'll know and let me know. And somebody said, can we do 1 month for the play? You can do, yeah, you can do 1 month. If you go to, yeah, it just Patreon allows us to, if we gave anything through YouTube, Aryan, then YouTube takes like 40% and then, or 60 damn near. And then we don't even see it for 2 months, a month and a half. So Patreon, we will get it instantly. And we can't do any cash apps right now because I've changed our business formation. So we are now a nice word to use, but any of you on the back end, you're going to know, I'll share it with you. And so they're changing our business, or our community, whatever you want to call it, formation. That's the word. But all I can say is you would get a write-off for what you do. So how about that? How about that? So we are now in a very blessed state. And we've always been, but now we can really do more. We are becoming solvent as an organization. So yeah, so we have a great, but I will share that with all of you. But yes, if yeah, so I'm just looking at not only for personal issues of what we're doing, what I'm doing too, in the commitment that it's going to take 5 days a week, doing all the stuff that we're going to do at all our events every 2 weeks, all these things. Then for the next 90 days is going to be really crucial. And so I was talking to everyone yesterday and I said, I'm just going to come out to the audience and we're going to see this. But I don't need everybody. It's just 20, 25 people, maybe 30 at different areas. It'll be a wonderful night for the other thousands of people, and some of you could probably help if you so choose, but you can do it for 1 month, 1 day, or whatever you want. Anything is love. And that's all I can say there. So let's kind of talk about a few things. But yes, you can do it for a month and whatever. But I would love to give somebody a shout out today and say, hey, thank you. Thank you for, I'm not going to sing the song. Thank you for being a friend. I don't even know. I remember the show. I just remember the thing, but I don't really. All right. So who's been contacted? Who, you know what? Maybe I'm asking the wrong question. Who is an alien? If you think you're an alien, put it in the chat. If you think you are the alien, put it in the chat, please. We don't do no ridicule here. Y'all know that. We ain't going down that route. But if you think you are an alien, put it in the chat. I would love to know. I would love to know if you think you're an alien. I talked to one last night, so they're everywhere. I can tell y'all that much. Sometimes they don't even know they're alien, but they are. The alien tendencies, at least. Sometimes you just got alien tendencies. And just have to do it. I have friends that they're not from this world. I can tell you that shit. But yeah, someone says as in a starseed, possibly. Well, so starseeds could be considered extraterrestrial beings. I mean, they're not earthlings, that's for sure. DJ says I might be a hybrid, smarter, stronger, faster, super talented. Now you sound like the $6 million man. You probably ain't old enough for that one, but he's now, he's stronger, faster, he's whatever, So, but you could be. How fast can you run? How fast did you used to run? How smarter are you? You know what I'm saying? And everything else. Someone said, "What's up, fam? Supreme Vader, how's it going?" Yeah. So again, I'm always shocked though when I ask these personal questions within our community. And being honest with you, I'm always shocked because I think truth seekers are some of the quietest people in the world. I think that you are 40 or you run a 40-yard dash. You said I 40 or you are 40. You are 40 years old. All right. And okay. So, but y'all get what I'm saying. I think that I try to make sure I create a avenue or a place where you don't have to be afraid of anything. You don't have to do that. You are 40. Okay. And you can kind of go from there. Now, let me bring this out on a personal attention. YouTube is going to work on a day that we could block and do different things. I think there's a lot of people don't deserve to watch anything I have to say. I know this because we can have 90 people in this room, and then the minute I put some up here asking for support, 30 people jump away. But they will come and drain you. They will come and get information that can change their lives, help their lives, and then they'll go to Netflix and pay. They'll go down the street and support all of these people. But for some reason, cosmic knowledge or the research of the hours that we put in is not worthy of support, in some cases. Now, I do know most of you give the most valuable thing that you have is your time. So that is worth gold, by the way. I want you to know. And so I appreciate that. But I do know when I do tick some people off when you start asking for support, because we're a community funded show. I mean, it ain't like shit coming from somewhere else. Now I could go and stand on the corner and we'll work for food. Being a big guy, I'm gonna probably, that ain't gonna work for me. Y'all know why, right? There'll be some mean ass folks that just don't eat. You know what I'm saying? If I went out, held a sign, we'll work for food, how many people actually will give my ass some food? And they'll be like, I ain't giving him nothing. He would need to lose some weight. You get what I'm saying? They'll be like, I just think they will be petty like that. I think somebody would be. Now, I'm not going to go try it, though. But you can imagine, though, I'm sitting out there like, we'll work for food, and they're going like, really? You either overworked or whatever, right? So I don't know, but I would assume, I think I would probably look at it that way. I'll be on the corner like, dude, you will work for food? All right, well, yeah, I don't know. So I just think so. I think so. I don't know. Maybe it would happen. But we could do it as a social experiment. What do you think, PK? We can do that? All right. So the producer said we can go out and do that. We can go and do a social experiment, and I go stand on the corner and I will write like on this paper, maybe I got a piece of paper right here, but I'll write, we'll work for food, and then see how many people will, be like, we'll. I just want to see how it look. We'll work for food. So imagine me standing there. I don't know if y'all can read that, but on the corner. We'll work for food. Me. All right. So we'll see. There'll be a social experiment. All right. And we will know who has a heart, who doesn't. Because there'll be people that look past that and say, hey, here, brother, here's $2. You get what I'm saying? But there'll be some people, we know there'll be some mean-spirited people. We need to have like a hidden camera across the street, though. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. It'll be a show shoot. He talking about don't forget to write God bless on the side. I hear you. I hear you. Said, don't forget to write God bless on the side. Okay. I with you on that. I'm going to load my debit card and send some support, and I'm interested in helping the broadcast possible volunteer work. Cool. Up there at the top where it says support, and there's our email, and then I'll put you in touch with our producer, and then yeah, you can get on that other side of the fence too, and do that. So anyway, yeah, I appreciate it. I'm from Trinidad. I'll watch you on Forbidden Knowledge. Cool, Trinidad. Do we know somebody from Trinidad? Where came from Trinidad? Where's that? Yeah, I thought Leander was from Trinidad though. How could I forget Leander? Wasn't she from Trinidad? Yeah. All right. That's what came to mind when I saw Trinidad. And maybe she's out there somewhere in Trinidad. All right. So, all right. Either way, awesome. Lobster. What about lobster? Oh, we'll work for lobster. That'll be good. Someone say you have to have a kid with you on the corner. Y'all see, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all so damn creative. Because it worked though. That kid shit worked. I ain't lying. I got a friend. She got a couple of kids. I asked her, "Can I borrow them?" She got two beautiful little girls. I'd be like, "Hey, can I borrow your kids?" And she's probably like, "Oh yeah, you're fucking mine." But like, hey, the kids will get unlimited toys, and the kids will probably help out too. They'll be like, "We'll help him out. He's an alien guy. We'll help him out." And so, anyway, who knows? But yeah, get a couple of kids in the right side. We can do that. And pretty much the previous night, I telepathically, so he would never knew I was speaking to them. Oh, well, y'all got it going on. Yeah, yeah. So, but either way, like I said, we are making some great headway, by the way, in the Caribbean, close to Venezuela, Trinidad. Oh, okay, all right. We're making some great headway, by the way, and I really enjoy the change. And I've been through a lot personally, as far as what we're doing, and we can do that. Now I know there's a couple more of y'all in here who been abducted. Somebody, you have to have been abducted. No, and how many of you got businesses too? Who got a business? What kind of business? Put it in the chat. What kind of business? You should be partnering with us so we can market your business for you while we're here doing what we're doing. So that is a wonderful thing. If we can market your business for you, I think it's one of those things. All right. So we're going to talk for another 15 minutes here because I really want to be here 5 for 5 each week for about an hour a day. And then that way, we're consistent in what we're doing. I'm going to take this off the screen, hopefully screenshot. Hopefully you go to Patreon/Truth versus Authority. You'll see each one of those there. Sign up. Give us a 90-day commitment and watch what you are a part of, and you will never, never regret what is happening, what we're doing now, and with your support. So I'm calling on all of us right now, and definitely so we can kind of do what we do. All right, so let's keep talking here and go back to the previous. I don't know what that is, but either way, yeah. So where I'm going with this is, if there's a lot, they don't scroll up, so I don't see any messages there. But where we're going with this is that if you come into Dallas, May 9th, we're having another one of our community get-togethers, UFO Alien Contact Intelligence Roundtable, and that's Saturday, May 9th. We're going to be doing that. Movie night this past weekend was off the chart. We were so good. We put a couple of people to sleep. I'll show y'all the pictures. And to let you know, I'll show them tomorrow. I'll have them loaded up, and you get to see people. Some people sleep pretty, though. I just want y'all to know some of these people sleep really pretty. And y'all get to see a few of them. Our producer, we'll put a face with her sleep too. But she earned it. She worked, been working really hard and stuff. But we had a great movie though. We watched him, and then we discussed it afterwards. So we did that in the community. Everyone enjoyed it, the conversation, the symbolism. everybody walked out. When we're going to do another one, and we're just going to keep growing it. We had hot dogs, we had nacho cheese, and we had chips, we had fruit, drinks. Yeah, it was just like a movie, you know. And then we had all our chairs, and we're just, you know, looking at our things, you know. So I think it's pretty permanent that we're going to be doing movie night as often as we can, and we're planning on doing a UFO night watch party. So we're working on that, and hopefully some of you can come down. And then when we do our UFO roundtable, you know, you'll be able to, you know, those community type events, we're going to be live streaming those as well. So, man, we're doing big things. That's all I can tell you. We're doing big things, really big things. And did anybody here, I love you over the weekend? I just want to know if you did before I go. I can tell you I love you. Anyone? Bueller, Ferris Bueller. Anyone get I love you over the weekend? Tomorrow, we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to get into a little conspiracy tomorrow. So I want y'all to be here because, as you know, we had another attempt on our current administration, which was a total fucking fake shit. Y'all should know that now, you know. And they're labeling another assassination attempt. How is it assassination attempt? It was 5,000 people in the building. They didn't even get through the fucking lobby. Who was they there for? They could have been there for the janitor. You know, I don't even get that part, by the way. And I'm not Republican or a Democrat, so I'm not going there. I just don't like the bull, how they try to rub it over our eyes, you know. And, you know, Erica Kirk, did y'all see her side of the fence? She walks out of there crying. Oh, I just want to go home. I'm like, who believe in that shit? I just want to go home. Really? It's like everybody played a part. Everybody played a part. It was the most ridiculous thing that you can ever imagine. Everybody played a part. And then ultimately he says, now that's why I need my new ballroom. I'm like, oh boy, if he could do that, I could do it. I could do it too. You know what I'm saying? We need a new ballroom to see UFOs, people, or something. You know, whatever. But yeah, so we're going to talk about some of that tomorrow because it needs to be talked about because it all ties into the UFO files, you know, everything from there. So we're going to be doing that. I am currently wearing our Shapeshifters Run the Planet shirt. And you can find this nowhere right now, but I'm wearing one. And so I just want you to know I got it. So I'm wearing a limited edition Shapeshifters Run the Planet shirt, and pretty much from there. All right, so it's been an hour. Tomorrow I'll have a little more direct conversation for you. Want to be jamming on a little bit for you and waiting on you all to tell me if you're an alien or something, and I'm just going to call you out and just let it kind of go there, and we can kind of see. We're going to see what happens from there. So we're just going to go from there. Let me see what the person says. All right. So, yeah, we'll just go from there. We'll go. Yeah. All right. So with that being said, I love you. I love each and every one of you. And we're going to get out of here, and I will see you. Make sure you hit the like button, share, and also go to our website. And if you want to do any phone consultations and share some more of your details of your aliens experience, you can go to the website. Let me put it on the screen here so that it is now open. So go to truthversusauthority.org, and you can do that as well. And again, the Reptilian, I see a couple of more you may have registered, so you're about to miss out. So that's cool. So we're going to do it Thursday night, and I appreciate the ones who going to get something you've never seen before, and you're going to have a whole new look on life, and you're going to have a lot of fun this summer, and you're going to see them everywhere, and you deserve to be the one seeing it because you're trusting to come on in here. And so that's all I have to say for that one. And so I'll see y'all Thursday. But we'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 for 5. I'll be back here 5 o'clock. right on time. And we're going to start structuring this a little more. We'll have some more. We'll have interviews, different people here on the show because it's a daily show. So we'll be doing it. And it'll switch a little bit, alien topics to conspiracy as well. And if there's any topics that you all want for us to explore throughout that week, I would love for you to email us, and then we will give you credit that this story was given to us, or it was your idea. We will put that out there for you. All right, so I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all peace out. Have a good one, and we will see you tomorrow at 5:00. And then we'll do Forbidden Knowledge live too at 8. So I'll be going live twice tomorrow. And so I'll see y'all on the other side of the night.
UFOs.
UAPs.
Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs that landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
It's fine.